Hi, Chris's 9-year-old niece. Happy birthday.
That's weird.
That was a bit of a weird one.
Okay, shall I start?
Sorry, I apologise, Chris.
I'm keeping what Benji said in. Hello! And welcome to the second episode of Plebcast. You're joining me, Jimmy, Billy, say hey.
Hello.
Benja, say hey.
Hey.
Louis, the sound guy, give us a wave.
Hello.
And a very special guest. I'm so excited for him to be on it. It's Dan Lowe's.
Hello, everybody.
Woo!
Second episode.
I'm gonna be honoured at being the first special.
You are the first special guest.
So talk for an hour and you guys all go home, yeah?
Yeah, that's the plan, mate.
That's the plan. Yeah. So how is everyone doing? How has everyone's week been? Since the last time we recorded this.
Yes,
it wasn't 2
a
weeks
week.
ago. It was a week.
A week.
Entirely uneventful.
Entirely uneventful. Great.
At all. Just looked forward to this, to be honest.
Yeah, I've sat at home waiting for this.
Yeah. I've been sat outside uni waiting for this. Right, yeah, so today's topic, Greek myths, but first we're going to chat to you, Dan.
Okay, hey.
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm good, yeah. I'm excited to be back in Newcastle for the weekend.
Yeah.
As these guys lovingly mentioned last week.
Did we mention it?
Louis gave us a lovely little shout out last week.
I should have listened to it back.
Yeah.
On what?
We should have listened to what we were saying in the first place.
You made the joke about me being dead.
Oh, I remember that now.
Yeah. See, I'm an avid listener to this, and obviously that's why I've been invited, because I'm the only one.
Now. Yeah. You're an honoured guest.
I'm now studying in Liverpool and loving it there, but it was nice to come back to Newcastle and see some classics people.
Yeah.
So, for our listeners that don't know, what are you studying in Liverpool?
So I'm cracking on looking at ancient coins. There was a bit of a joke last year on a trip to Athens. Flippers on legs. Yeah.
It did get a bit like that at the end of the week.
It did, yeah.
Coins again, here we go.
Yeah. But I kind of did it for my MA dissertation, and I'm carrying it on. So, looking at the late Republican coins.
Amazing. That must be really interesting.
Putting 130 odd entries into a.
I remember when we were in the Acropolis Museum and there was that wall of coins, or like that window of coins, and you were stood there for ages.
Yeah, I've never seen you so happy.
You ran to it.
Basically, yeah. I mean, the reason being is it's a real. I don't know whether you guys have this when you see things in museums of stuff you've studied.
Oh yeah.
Where you have this moment where you're like, holy shit, this is something I've looked at. Oh, sorry, I wasn't sure if I was swearing.
Yeah,
swear. Oh, you can swear as much as you want.
But you see these things that you've studied for ages, and you think you know everything about it. You obviously don't, because we're morons. But Jimmy told us to say that.
Yeah.
Cover our asses, so to speak. But
morons,
you see these things you see, and you're like, oh, that's really cool, that's really interesting. And obviously, we made the joke about flippers or legs with the coins of Aegina. And then to actually see one there, I was like, oh, look, it's the actual coin. It gives it more substance. Yeah. And everyone's just kind of like, cool. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. And move straight on, and I'm just there like...
Yeah, you were there like, oh my god.
Face on the window.
It's different things for every person.
Yeah.
I like it when I go to a city and you've read about it before, and you see a building and you're like, oh, that's where this happened. like in Venice, when we saw the Campanile.
Oh yeah, the Campanile many times.
Yeah.
And it was different towers. Because Billy got lost. we were supposed to be following Billy because we were going to go to the Campanile, like St Mark's Square that day. And there were a bit of trouble that someone had on the road we were supposed to go down, or little lane in Venice, someone had fainted, so we couldn't go that way. So Billy saw just a random tower in the sky, and we were like, that's the Campanile, let's follow that. And he took us round near the Arsenale, ages away from the St Mark's. And we just lost the whole day. Yeah. But it was a good walk, though.
It was. I actually meant to take us to the Arsenal.
Yeah. We were supposed to go that later in the afternoon, but we just didn't go.
We were. But anyway, the point is, I'd read about both of those places.
Yeah.
And just seeing them, you can really sort of empathise with the history that happened
there. For me, another one I had, sorry to chat again, but we went to Rome the year before. First time I ever been to Rome, went to the Forum, and I know it's not the original Courier, not the newspaper, the Senate House. Spelled differently too. But you go to it and you're like, oh my god, this is actually really big, and this is where the Senate under the Empire, so not really a Senate, but met and stuff like this, and it's in the original Roman Forum, and you've got all these temples about, and you're like, wow, it kind of it's a bit surreal, I think, is the best way to say it. And when you do artifacts and stuff and then you come across them, again, it's a little bit surreal. I know my profile picture for a long time was me gawping at the Prima Porta Augustus in the Vatican Museum. I was like, catching flies all day.
The forum's incredible in Rome. When I went, because we had like diagrams of it. When we learned about it in college, we had diagrams of it. It didn't look that impressive.
It's just boxes.
Hand-drawn stuff.
Yeah.
But then when you go and you're on the hill, what's the hill called again?
Capital.
Yes, that's the one.
Capitoline.
When you Capitoline
There's
Hill.
a lot of hills in Rome.
There's a lot of hills, there's 7 actually. But when you're stood on that and you're looking down on the forum, it's really impressive.
Yeah, I thought the Hippodrome was amazing because we just stumbled across it, like on our way to somewhere.
Yeah.
And suddenly the landscape just opened up in front of us.
Yeah.
And there was a huge racing track.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be really simple and say I get this feeling when I see Lamassu, the like Assyrian bull, whatever it is. They're just like, I just love them. But that is my your city or the Rome, and I like a bull with a face.
What's yours, Louis? Where have you been?
Acropolis, man. That's my jam. Do you remember? I did a sort of guided tour, free of charge for Dan Lowe's and friend of the show, Jack Dugan. And I've not been so excited about classics in my life to share my knowledge with someone. And I was just like, guys, this is it. And because I did it for the whole of A level, and it's like if I do it, when I do a dissertation, it'll be on Athens in some way. Yeah. I was so excited, man.
But that was like something that really it came across on the two trips that I went on with classics. And I think you guys who went on the Athens trips were able to agree is you come across places that somebody in the group knows loads about and they're really excited to tell you about it. So like Louis did that with us with the Acropolis. I think
Connie did it with
Temple
of
Fire.
Yeah, and you know you speak because you know so much about it. You speak with such confidence, and you're like, yeah, this is this, and you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. Actually, hearing it from someone who we know and we're friends with, or and is also very much interested. It kind of takes out the lecture theatre and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It makes it so much nicer to listen to.
And Connie kind of gave us like a lecture.
Yeah, it was a bit.
And I was taking the piss, but I think I was the only one. Everyone was like actually listening.
It was like the whole trip. Everyone was listening to her. Like she was giving it so much detail. It was great actually.
I would have done what Louis did on the Acropolis if I hadn't have been farting the whole time. Farting. I cleared out like 8 meters around me.
It was fucking horrible.
We went to the.
There's nothing better than that though. That's so funny. It's never going to get old for doing that. Like.
No, we went to the new museum that they have, and we were like, we're gonna have. This was like our first proper day there or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's
afternoon.
Like, we're gonna have a very nice, fancy, posh breakfast in their rooftop restaurant. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have a omelette. Omelette will be great. Have an omelette, I'm fine. Then we can decide, let's go to the Acropolis. Then go to the Acropolis, get up to the, proper Palea? The, main column bits.
The gate,
yeah. And it was just fart after fart. People were running. You could see people.
It was like 40.
You could see it clear up.
He ruined hundreds of holidays.
It was 480 all over again.
Yeah.
No, that day was really good. I really I was taken aback by the Theatre of Dionysus because we did a whole in college second year. We did a whole module on the theatre, and then we stood on the top of it. I think you'd gone to the tree on the left against the Acropolis, and someone was on to the right, and I was on the top of the theatre, all the way up, where the furthest spectator would have sat. I was just staring out onto Athens, and it's like imagine what it'd been like without the modern stuff, without all the
clutter. We were stood in the Acropolis, and from the Acropolis you can see Salamis and Aegina, which is an island that we went to later on in the day, and the island that I couldn't shut up about their coins.
We'll get back on. We'll get on to that.
The island that you got your offer on.
Yeah, that is a good point actually. I got
Dr. Danlos.
That was celebrated that night.
We celebrated by taking the piss out of you for the rest of the trip.
Dr. Lowe.
I think you got an afternoon off, and then the evening it just started
again. Yeah, I was used to it at that point. But no, one of the things obviously that happened between Aegina and Athens, they had a huge naval battle, and you can just imagine that you can see it in the the bay and whatever. And you can just imagine people lining the Acropolis, just watching what's going on and watching these ships crash into each other and this whole battle taking place. And you can kind of imagine a similar thing with when the Persians started to burn down, Athens, that they could stand nearby. Well, not while it was burning, because that would just be dangerous. But you know, they could see the Battle of Salamis take place and things like that, and it kind of like crap. The ancient world is massive, but also really small at the same time.
Yeah.
Stop me from chatting absolute shit here, but didn't some Athenian like high up citizens stay when everyone else left? Didn't they stay and get sort of burned to death by Persians?
Maybe.
I
mean, I've never heard
know.
Probably, like...
Yeah. I know it's not Peloponnesian, is it? It's Persian Wars. Now, there goes my doctorate, never mind.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, yeah. Today's main topic... Thank you, Dan. You can go now. No. Today's main topic is Greek myths. Why are they so important still?
I haven't researched any Greek myths.
Okay, cheers.
I did research a myth.
You did research a myth? Oh my god, they did the homework. Incredible.
I have nothing better to do with my life.
Yeah, neither do I. I've got a myth that I'll be talking about in a bit. But why are these so important today? A lot of my friends, I said this last week at home, like, oh, no one cares about them anymore. Oh, they're all old. But they're still relevant. They're still incredibly relevant. A lot of films are still based on them. A lot of Shakespeare is based off Greek myth.
Sorry, I wanted to talk about the bad
Straight
history.
in, Dan.
That noise was Dan clicking at Jimmy.
Yeah, that was very rude of me. But I discussed out before that there was something that really I wanted to talk about when you mentioned something in last week. You talked about Shakespeare's play was based off a lot of Greek myth. It is. The one you missed out is, who did you say he used? You said he used someone, but a lot of our Shakespeare's histories, so such as Antony and Cleopatra, Julius Caesar and stuff, all comes from Plutarch's accounts. So he basically read Plutarch and then made his plays off that. I just thought,
really?
So like a lot of the histories, like Coriolanus and Titus Andronicus,
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
they're all based off Plutarch's lives and what he wrote and stuff.
Isn't it also because like around the time Shakespeare was writing? I know it was later Renaissance, middle Renaissance. I don't know.
I'd say like coming towards the beginning of the Enlightenment, end of the Renaissance.
But like they still had stuff to read, transcribe, translate. There was still like they weren't anywhere close to having what we now have as ancient texts. So he also didn't have that much choice.
That's true. That is true.
I mean, it was only just shortly after the Reformation.
Yeah.
So they've only just moved on from literally Roman Christianity being the centre of everything for them.
Yeah.
So it's quite a big break.
Yeah, I can't remember. In our geography module, there was something about. They said something about how Erasmus used lots of. He was a main Reformation dude, but he used loads of Greek texts. Like it was his fun thing to translate text.
Well, I mean, all of the sort of. I'm doing a module on sort of religion and the decline of magic at the moment, and all of the like church theologians used like Plato and Aristotle to get their sort of base philosophy, and Aristotelian metaphysics was really popular around the time of the Reformation. So they were still using classical like texts, even though they weren't in any way related to their religion, for theological purposes.
Yeah, I was just about to say there's a module that I think Chris brought up last week that Newcastle do, which is looking at Roman republicanism through the ages. And I know Shakespeare's before him, but there's a gentleman called Harrington and John Milton, who wrote Paradise Lost.
Oh, yeah.
They are very much active around the time of the Civil War, which is only, 40 years after Shakespeare dies? So not long at all. Yeah. And they are using, people like Livy and Polybius and stuff to discuss what their perfect, Republican government would be.
Yeah, Polybius is basis for the founding fathers in America.
Yeah,
we learnt about that in Vista, didn't we? A few days ago.
Yeah.
It's because Harrington writes about it, and he takes the idea of a monarchy, oligarchy, and democracy being so, working so well, and then American writers change Harrington's views, and obviously still kind of drag on from Polybius' stuff. Yeah. Sorry for that massive digression.
No,
it's good. It's good.
If any listeners know about Polybius, please get in contact so you can help me with my essay.
Yeah. What is everyone's favourite myth? Favourite myth? Roman.
While we think, Benji, you had one prepared, didn't you?
I did research.
Oh, yes.
Here's one I made earlier.
Here's one I made earlier, which I'm going to butcher because actually I've never studied it, and it's probably wrong. But
good.
The Epic of Gilgamesh is one of my favourite ones, mainly because I think Gilgamesh is just a cooler
Can I
name.
quickly interrupt? Are you guys doing this year Greek myth as a module?
We did that
Last year.
Did you do Near Eastern and Greek myth?
No,
No.
they took that away.
Yeah,
'cause
they took away the
when
Near
we
Eastern
did
bit.
it, we did Near Eastern and we studied the Epic of Gilgamesh. So
It was when we chose our when we got given the modules
Yeah.
and chose them. It was Near Eastern
and
and,
did you
Greek
get
myth.
very excited?
I bought the Epic of Gilgamesh, read it all the way through immediately on the train home, and then it was like a week later. Nah, it's just Greek myth now.
I was really
I
looking-
was just.
Yeah,
I
because
just-
it
I
changed
love
with us, because ours was supposed to just be Greek myth. And then it changed into Near Eastern and Greek, and we were like, what is this context?
I'm
we're walking into?
fuming. Because I really wanted to do Near Eastern as well.
The Epic of Gilgamesh, as Benja's probably about to point out, is really cool.
We'll hear about it now. Go.
Well, basically, it's about it's a dude who's like a king. I think. Please correct me if this is wrong, because I read it a while ago and I can't remember it. And then it's a basic Wikipedia summary. I just remember that I loved it so much. And actually, I didn't do any research for this, so
Yeah.
kind of. But it's a guy who's a king, and then the gods create like a kind of villain for him called Enkidu. And he only becomes a civilized person by having sex with a prostitute, because that's quite a cool thing.
Yeah.
And then he becomes friends with Gilgamesh, and then they go on a nice little trip after Gilgamesh. There's a goddess who wants to have sex with Gilgamesh, but he goes, nah, I'm alright. And then she gets annoyed and then sends a bull to kill him. And then him and Enkidu kill this bull. And then the gods are like, nah, I shouldn't have done that. And then they kill Enkidu, and then Gilgamesh becomes sad and tries to look for eternal life and fails. And but it's just it's ridiculous, and also far more ridiculous than most Greek myths. I would say.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, there are some pretty ridiculous Greek myths out there, but it's just really cool. And also the history of it's quite cool, because it's 2400 BC, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it Mesopotamia?
Yeah, but it's also they found like tablets of it as a complete epic. It's considered like the first piece of epic literature ever composed, but they found tablets of it as a complete thing. But that's from 1800 BC, and I think between 2400 and 1800 it used to be lots of different stories which were then collated into one big thing. And there's also one about a big flood.
I remember the flood myth. We got told about that. That was something I really didn't pay attention to. But he did. One thing I will say is, did you mention how Gilgamesh and Enkidu are basically like, think Hercules strong, and like double it?
Oh yeah,
they are ridiculous. And the only reason that Enkidu is found is because Gilgamesh is so rich, he's so handsome, he's so strong. The gods are like, who is this guy? Like, he's showing us up. And they create Enkidu, who's meant to be the complete opposite. Gilgamesh is this king living in a luxurious palace and everything like that. So they make feral man, and that's Enkidu. And these farmers turn up one day and like, there's this beast in the forest, help us kill him. And then he goes to kill him. They have like a massive fight. They realise they can't kill each other and go, beers? And then they become great friends, basically.
I think like some people think they were proper lover type people, and then had that's why
there's a whole bit like,
so sad.
Is it Enkidu or Gilgamesh dies, and then the other one goes to like rescue the
Enkidu dies, and because they become such good friends, and then Gilgamesh spurns like the goddess of love or whatever. The gods are like, oh, we've got to punish Gilgamesh. How do we do that? We kill his best mate, Enkidu, who they created in the first place.
Yeah.
And then they kill Gilgamesh. They kill Enkidu, and it gets kind of sad, but also in like a not sad way.
Yeah.
But I think it's just one of the. It's like I think it's the main Middle Eastern myth, which also ties into. I think there's the Great Flood story, which also somehow involves Gilgamesh at points.
Yeah, it's a very long-reaching story.
Yeah, and then there's one where he's like, to show his strength, I think he like carries back like these trees which are supposedly like as big as redwood type trees in America, and he literally just carries them back to like
just like
build,
his arms.
to build like Enkidu's like funeral thing. But it's like he's carrying. It's supposedly like he's gone to the other side of the world to this sacred forest, and he just picks up a massive fucking tree and just carries it across the world.
Doesn't he fight a giant at some point? And he's like losing, and he has to get the wind to help him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that.
No,
personally.
yeah, that is part of it, because after...
Does he do a bender and just fart? And clears up.
Bring forth the power of the wind and just...
Yeah.
But I think part of them is they go to like try and kill the guardian of this forest. That's when they call like the different gods of the winds. And, but it is really cool.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've read like extracts of it, and I found it really interesting how he get really close to achieving immortality, and then it sort of snatched away from it.
Yeah, that was his goal. Like that was he had everything in life but immortality.
And that's when he realises that the only way he can become immortal now, because there is like a way for him to become immortal, and he just sort of missed out on it. And then he's like, the only way I can maintain immortality is just having people tell stories about me through my great deeds. And I think that's one of the reasons why he goes to fight the giant, just so that people will remember him, which I thought was probably quite an interesting commentary on the nature of like Mesopotamian kingship.
Pretty wise guy.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you said 2,400 BC.
Yeah.
It's now 2080. 80?
80?
How
long are we doing this for?
Yeah, 2018. You have got me in the room, remember? That's why. No, 2018. You know, so we're 4,500 years ago, and we're still talking about this person who may or may not be real, but
well, it's like he could have been one of the historical kings, but I know like the flood story that ties into it, they think that the people involved in that, the phonetic sounds of the names equate to something similar to like Noah and whatever, and I think that's where the stories originate from.
If you heard that, Billy was opening a beer. And he looked at me really sheepish before he did it. Anyway, that brings me quite nicely, you saying may or may not existed, quite nicely. So where do we think the myths came from?
Isn't that thing of there's only 7 stories?
There's only 7.
There's
only like 7
Isn't that something you brought up last week as well?
We brought this up last week. We're going to go into more detail.
Callbacks to every single episode.
I'm only remembering it because we talked about it last week.
But where do we think the myths come from? Because obviously they're not real. But like, why?
What you on about? What?
I'm so sorry. Santa isn't real either.
Well, I think with the Epic of Gilgamesh and the whole immortality thing, I think that's probably how Mesopotamian kings saw themselves. Like, they've got everything apart from immortality, and they can only live on through their deeds. And that's why you get with sort of Mesopotamian and Persian kings this obsession with legacy and like inscribing things and writing stuff down. I mean, it kind of continues to this day, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, building on to that question, for example, so myths, one of the big things that myths seem to involve, particularly in the ancient world, is gods.
Yeah.
You know, they're always there. So, question to you guys, genuine question, because I don't know, do these make up a massive part of the religion of the time? Or is it kind of just, these myths exist, they relate to the gods that these people follow and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And then, building on from that, we know that we get in Rome, for example, particularly after Caesar, we get deified emperors.
Yeah.
And how much do they become myth and fact? Because obviously, you know, there is a little bit of, if we've all read the Ray Gesti, I imagine, maybe not, no?
Yeah. Of course we have.
No.
Absolutely.
But the Ray Gesti has a little bit of interesting nuances in it, and you know, various other works have a little bit of exaggeration, should we say, in terms of people we know. And does that fall into mythology, or are we just going to like say no, it's stuff we don't have full on recorded history? Because I would argue, for example, the Iliad is mythology in a way.
Yeah, it's definitely. I'd say it's mythology.
But then there's definitely
historical facts
basis for it.
Yeah.
Well,
but then where's the line between mythology and religion? When does it get to the point of Greek religion, Roman religion,
it's like,
over the mythology?
It's like a lot of the myths are just explanations, like their explanations for the world around them. So it's like, what is the earth? Oh, it's Gaia.
Yeah.
It's the goddess Gaia. And it's like... what's the sky? It's Uranus, the god of the sky. You know, it's just like it's their explanation. It's their like kind of science around it. It's like with the Perseus myth when he's bringing back the head of Medusa on. It wasn't actually Pegasus. It's Clash of the Titans. So it's the Hermes' sandals. What are they? The winged sandals.
Yeah.
It's just like the what?
Nike is what I said. I should have said Nike airs. It may have been
yeah.
So close.
But he's just like he's just hovering on sandals across a desert, across the Sudan, and the blood of Medusa's head lands onto the sand, turns into snakes, and that's the explanation for snakes.
I didn't know
to be in Africa.
I think that question where they come from is actually fascinating because a lot like religion, you're right. It is just Greeks and Romans making it to what they want it to be.
Yeah.
Like it may be their explanation, but they also tune it to what they want.
Exactly.
Like religion is the same. All the stories of all the gods and stuff are clearly made up by people who want a certain spin and certain reason. They want an explanation for what's going on in their life, and we can't do that now.
Yeah.
Because people do it, and you get ridiculed for it, and because we know better.
Yeah.
Back then, they didn't have any way of discerning what was true from what was false. So
I think because we think myths are so cool, and actually they do explain. We can easily see how they were made to explain certain things. I think we put a bit too much on them as what ancient Greeks believed, because there were plenty of people that just went, no, this is absolutely ridiculous. This isn't believable whatsoever. But it's still recorded, and it's still we put it in the same if we think about Aristotle, the time of Aristotle, we might think that actually most of the people at the time were still believing that Zeus sits on the mountain and comes down and shags people.
Yeah.
That's kind of...
I still believe that.
Well, it might be true, but it's there's... The myths obviously played a big part, but the time of recorded history, when everyone's writing it down, myths obviously... Well, possibly not obviously, but I expect they played a lot smaller role in... They're more... I don't know, they're their own culture's history.
We're talking about recorded history, and I'm going to bring them up again, but coins. No, but genuinely, I know, but
ad break.
No, but for example, with Alexander's coins, Alexander 323 is when he dies, and he has coins minted after him. He's got gods on there, and the rulers and the diadochoi after him are using gods, and they're harking back to gods. The Romans are very much doing it, so they're still part of it. And I said this to Louis, and he kind of didn't know, and I kind of think a lot of people don't. The old 50p piece.
Yeah.
Now that's an Alexander coin, what we call in numismatics as an Alexander coin.
Numismatics,
which is
fancy word.
Study of coinage. Basically.
Oh my god.
But because it's got the head of the ruling, the ruling person, the queen. The ruling, I can't think of it.
The
deity.
monarchy.
No, the deity is a god.
What was the other one?
Monarch.
The monarch, yeah. So it has the ruling monarch. Thank you, Jimmy. Cheers. And then you have a deity on the other side. And in Alexander's coins, it would be Zeus, or Demetrius, it would be Poseidon, etc.
Yeah.
And then with ours, it was Britannia. Now, Britannia is not a deity as we so much go and pray to, but she's a symbol and, part of the mythos, for example, of Britain. So, even up until the modern day, we're still kind of harking back to mythology in a way, and what's his face, King Arthur.
Literally, I'll go bring him up.
Yeah,
I was going to go back to my earlier question that I also posed. What's the difference between religion and mythology?
Yeah,
I that kind of suggests that mythology is more of a cultural thing, a cultural background, which actually you don't need to. It's not that they were constantly praying to Zeus or whatever. It was their Zeus was more like Britannia was to us.
It just gives them a sense of foundation, like common foundation. It's kind of like a brotherhood in a way. Like they all come from the same root and from the same place, and that gives them all the same basis.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, looking at Greek. This is something you can maybe have a chat with Edith Hall when she comes up to Newcastle.
Oh, yes.
Plug in.
But for example, identity in ancient Greece there's a lot of mythology to do with the Dorians, the Ionians. Athens is very liberal with its use of whether or not it's from Ionia or whether or not the Ionians are good. And they all come from mythology. You have Hellene, who is the founding father of all Greeks, and then you get Ion and things like that, his sons, and they go and form their own tribes, and they become the Ionians and the Dorians and the Lacedaemonians and Spartans.
Yeah, obviously it's the same kind of story with both mythical foundations of Rome.
Yes.
With Aeneas and Romulus and Remus.
It's like, and the Athenians use the fact that they're found in. They came out the ground. What's it called? I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, there is a special word.
Special word. But is it Erechtheus came out?
It's like that's
Erechtheus, like
because that's
the main Athenian, the top dog.
Yeah.
King of Athens. He came from the ground.
Yeah.
That's one of the myths that he was born
Poseidon
from the earth.
Poseidon and Athena were having a contest of who should be the patron deity.
Exactly.
And I think was it Poseidon made a well or something, and then Athena
gave the olive tree.
Yeah. And then there's a version of that myth that from the olive tree came the first Athenians. Or there were Athenians already there, and they were like, the olive tree is more useful because we can eat it, we can get oil off it.
I think it's also like, I think the thing is Poseidon made a salt spring like salt spring, and then they were like, we can't do shit
nice
with
try.
this. Yeah, but it doesn't.
Made, but
I think there's another one also where he like.
We got a fucking sea.
But also, I think there's another one that like he gave them horses, but they already had horses. And it's like we can breed horses.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah,
it's just Poseidon's wasn't useful.
Like the Athenians used that as their identity. Like they clung onto that myth. It's like this is why we're so great. We're different to all of you because we came from the ground.
They also had that fuck off massive statue.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, you got to wonder how much of our own history is actually just mythology. Because if you look at the Anglo-Saxon settlement of Britain, the original historical tradition before we started getting more advanced archaeology into the mix was just that two guys called Hengist and Horsa came over, won a battle, and that was that. We're Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah.
So before we challenged that assumption with archaeology, and closer reading sources, that was our history, but it's mythology.
Yeah.
Okay. What were you just saying, Benja?
I didn't realise I was talking.
No, Billy was.
We were talking about Hengist and Horsa.
Yes.
And
Carry
about
on.
how much of our history actually was mythology until not too long ago.
Yes. Yeah. Were you finished?
But I can't finish, to be honest. So.
Oh, okay.
I can go back to another.
What was your favourite myth? What's your favourite myth? Have you said that?
I haven't yet.
Go on.
Oh, there's so many to choose from.
While Billy's choosing, can I go back to the 7 story thing?
Yes. Yeah.
Because the Romulus and Remus story of like the wolf and the she-wolf bit. There's that bit in Herodotus where he goes about the Persian story.
Oh, Cyrus.
And the she-wolf thing, where he gets suckled by a she-wolf.
But then but the idea with that, I think Herodotus mentions that actually the farmer's wife who took them in, it was a bit of a feisty woman, and she was known as a she-wolf in town. I think
it's to do with like her name was
or something like that.
Her name translated was bitch.
But there's also a similar thing with the Roman one that obviously wolf in Latin is lupa, which also means prostitute. Or I don't know if it's Vitter's going to hate me, but like I don't know if that's the nominative of wolf or whatever. But that's where there's a link between the two. So there's this idea of were Romulus and Remus, the sons of a prostitute or stuff like this. And interestingly enough, my parents went to Italy a few weeks ago, brought me back some pins, and one of them's got the Italian flag with the Roman wolf on it. I was like, oh, that's nice. Yeah. Apart from it has Lupa underneath. I'm just walking around saying I'm a prostitute now, so that's fun. But yeah, there's these there's a lot of things I think in mythology that we come across where, they make it, there might be a genuine reason, like for example, her name is bitch in Persian or Median, or Lupa means prostitute and she was a prostitute or whatever. But then people have kind of gone, is that really the best way for our great leaders to be seen? We'll slightly tweak that and say there was a she-wolf or something like that, for example. So
it's just surprising how I know it's not actually that far in real life now, Italy to, I don't know, Iraq. There's a distance, but it's not that far in the whole base of the globe. But still, in like the ancient world, that's quite a distance for such a similarity in the same story.
Yeah.
But then, possibly it did travel that far.
Yeah.
Possibly
There's a lot of time for it to travel.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, Rome wasn't. It depends when the Rome. I don't know much about Rome whatsoever, so I don't know when.
I'm not very good with Rome.
Well, like Rome's traditional foundation, and what the two ways of dating Rome by the Romans was either ab urbe conditio, which is after the since foundation of the city, or in the years of consul A and B, for example. So they're like traditional dating. If they're going for AUC, is 753 is the date that Romulus set up the city. Archaeological evidence suggests that there's settlements on Rome before that.
Yeah.
So whether or not the question is that there were, like villages on the hills, and then they decided, shall we become one large community? Yes. Okay, let's have a king type thing. So there's plenty of time for it to travel, but there's not loads of time. But you have got to remember, there's a lot of trade going on. Our alphabet comes from, you can trace it back to the Phoenician alphabet. Because, the Phoenicians had their alphabet, traded with Carthage or the Greeks. The Greeks created their alphabet. Phoenicians they did trade with Carthage, but it was a Phoenician colony. Make sure my history is nice and right. But then the Greeks created their alphabet. They traded with the Etruscans from Pithecusae, and then the Etruscans created an alphabet. The Etruscans and Romans were very much culturally intertwined, and then you get the Latin alphabet, which we still use today. So there is. You look in the past, and you can see that there is definite places for cultural interaction and cultural fusion.
Yeah.
I'm looking at now in my PhD saying that the Hellenistic Eastern Rome has this huge cultural interaction, and that's why we have a monarchy in Rome after Augustus. That's my hopeful thesis, but we'll see.
How many years have you got to study then?
I've got about 3 or 4 left, so got plenty of time.
Is that how long it is?
Yeah, PhD is the same length, if not more, than an undergrad.
Oh, bloody hell.
So you normally get 3 years, but I've got funding for 4.
Yeah.
And you generally can stay to do a PhD for as long as you want.
Yeah.
But I know that Liverpool, I've been told by older people that Liverpool kind of.
There were older people.
I know I'm old and my Zimmer frame is in the corner, but there are some that are older than me. But I've been told that Liverpool starts to open the door for you after 4 years, and starts to put a boot behind your backside to be like, shift on. Just
please leave.
Well, Liverpool's got one of the biggest PhD PGR research PGR groups in the country. Newcastle's is very small, but Liverpool's is quite big. So I think what they do is they try and get people through quite.
Are you teaching seminars?
Well, hopefully next year, not this year, because I'm a first year this year, so I've got to do some training courses and stuff. But me and my supervisor have discussed it a little bit, so we're gonna have a look.
What would you do on?
I think it will be, my supervisor is someone who teaches the Late Republic, which is obviously the same as what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I think what it will be is I'll get the seminar stuff that he's doing. It's like, okay, this is what we're doing this seminar. Like you guys get the reading.
Yeah.
And then I'll have to be on the ball and hopefully, touch wood, I'll know more than the undergraduates. Hopefully. Hopefully. Yeah. So that when they say something, I can go, yeah, that's a really good point, or what are you talking about? Have you even done the reading?
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, it's very much stuck. Doing my own stuff, but
nice.
Still a lot to go. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's good. I would recommend if you guys really wanted to stay in the field of ancient history, doing a PhD. They are good, but my other word of advice to you on the slightly darker side: give yourself some time. Genuinely,
What, do like a year out?
Yeah. So I did. Sorry to talk about me, but I went from undergrad.
You're a special guest, though. Special guest. Talk about your entire life. We've got
no,
we've got time.
No. So I did my 3 years undergraduate, and then went on to my masters straight away, and then went on to my PhD straight away. Now, not too many people do that. Some do, but the amount of stress and chaos there was between me, Liverpool, and Newcastle
Yeah.
Because when I'd got my offer back in March when we were in Aigner, but I still hadn't done like half the MA. And when you guys this year, you'll do your dissertation, you're doing it now at the same time as doing everything else. When you do an MA, you kind of have it in the back of your mind, but you finish in May the same time you guys do. Yeah. But then you have to hand it in at the end of August. So you kind of spend the summer months just working on your dissertation, which I much prefer. It's actually quite nice to just crack on with one big topic.
Yeah.
But when you're supposed to start on October the 1st, and your hand-in date is August the 31st, and Newcastle has 20 working days to get back to you, the universities are like, yeah, but you haven't actually finished, and we don't know what your result is, and you could still fail, and you're like, Yeah. So, like, if you had, for example, 6 months to a year out, you know,
that would have been a lot easier.
You wouldn't have that stress and stuff.
Well,
like that.
I think there's quite a few. I was looking at masters, and there's quite a few that you can start halfway through a year.
Yeah, there's when you get to postgrad, you don't have to like.
Is it not like the like uni years or school years? Is it not anymore?
I mean, generally with postgrads, like they have two kind of. Sometimes you get people with January starts, but
really,
yeah, most have like you split it because I think they split it the same way that we kind of split it. Modules half a year, then half a year.
Yeah.
So you just switch around which modules you do. It doesn't matter what. Like you end up doing the same ones, but because you do them in a different order.
And PhDs can officially start on the 1st of any month.
Really?
Oh, but generally they do the same thing. They'll take a load in October or September, depending on the uni, and then take a load more in on January. Yeah. But you can, if you want, defer it for a month or defer it till January or leave it for a year. I mean, when I got my offer, I also got sent funding, like a funding application that was successful. And the guy who was successful had gone off for 3 years and worked in Rome for 3 years. And one of those years was at the Capitoline Museum, which is like one of the biggest museums in Rome. And you're just kind of like, okay, yeah, they've really gone for it outside of it. So, yeah. It's good, and I'm really enjoying it.
That's good.
Well, people come back way later in life and do
PhD,
yeah.
And then they do like the part-time ones, which take like 7 or 8 years.
What time are we going on now, Luke?
Just over 45 minutes. But
just over 45.
We had a bit of
we did have a little bit of a break. Yeah. So Billy, we'll finally go to your favourite myth because I think we've diverted twice.
And both of them.
And I don't think I can do. I had a myth planned, but it'll take ages.
What myth?
Well, it's not a myth.
Out of curiosity.
It's not a myth in general. I was going to talk about the underworld and just describe the underworld. I've got quite a lot of notes here, but I think I could save that for another week.
You've kind of missed it by about a week, really.
Oh no, we're recording this on Halloween. Didn't you know that?
Yeah.
Sorry to type.
Yeah, welcome to the Halloween special.
Next week's the Christmas special.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But anyway, Billy, what were you going to say? Finally. If you say I don't know, I'm moving on.
Because I've got one.
I've got one as well.
Yeah, we'll get through all that.
I like a specific aspect of a lot of myths, which is in a multi-theistic pantheon, all of the gods are very human.
Yeah.
I really like that. I like the fact that they can be sort of vindictive, jealous little bitches.
Yeah, they're not perfect.
That was huge!
Another bit.
He spent so much time as well trying to do that very quietly. And then it just went...
No, I was specifically waiting for a point in Billy. Billy did it during my story. So I was doing during yours.
Another beer went off.
It's jealous, vindictive little bitches who open their beer. Like Benjamin Townsend. But I like. There's a story about Ra, the Egyptian sun god, and the king of their gods, and he's just. There's 2 stories about the Egyptian sun. What it is. In one of them, it's a dung beetle rolling a giant ball of dung across the sky.
Yeah,
it's pretty chill.
I love that one. I'll believe that.
I've heard that one before.
Yeah.
In the other one, it's Ra in a boat, and the boat is the sun, and he sails across the sky in the day.
Yeah.
And at night, he goes into the underworld to sort of battle monsters.
Hades. Yeah.
But he's all powerful, basically. Ra. He can't be hurt by anything, so he's fine going down to battle these monsters. Apart from something created out of himself. So there's this other goddess, I can't remember her name, but she's like the magician goddess, and she wants Ra's biggest secret, which is his name, which is the source of all of his power. So she, quite vindictively, she follows him while he's ploughing through the sky on a sunboat, and it's so hot and sweltering that a bit of sort of drool comes out of his mouth and hits the floor.
Yeah.
She collects that, weaves some magic spells, and turns it into a snake. Now, because it's made out of Ra, it can hurt him. So she sort of leaves it in his path and it bites him. And he's lying there screaming, holding his leg, because he's been bitten by this snake. Poison's coursing through his veins. All of the gods crowd around, they try and help him, but they can't. So she comes up and she goes, okay, I can help you, but you're going to have to tell me your name.
Yeah.
And he's got no choice but to say yes, because she's the magician goddess. He believes her. He tells her his name. She heals him. And then she's got his name, which is the source of all of his power. And I just like the fact that she does that. She wants something and she just gets it like a person would.
The gods fuck with people.
Yeah, and they fuck with each other.
Yeah, I like the fact that they're not all powerful. Like they're not like the Christian god.
Yeah.
Or the other modern gods.
She would have let one of her friends die.
Quote marks, man.
She would have let one of her friends die just so that she can get more power and more secrets.
What I really like about all the myths is that they're not. Is it omnipotent? Not omnipotent.
Yeah, it is omnipotent.
They're not all powerful.
Yeah,
they're like they've got flaws, but people still worship them. And I like. It's like if there were gods, I will say I'm atheist, but the one that makes more sense to me, would be paganism, because it's like the gods aren't perfect. If you know what I mean. So that's why I really like them. It's not really Greek myths, more religion, but yeah.
Well, no, they're like completely intertwined in.
Well, they are, yeah.
Ancient.
Because a lot of the myths are to do with the gods.
I also don't like. I've forgotten what it is. It's like you don't. When would you? What was it? You like sacrifice to all the gods have like a separate area, but really specific areas.
There's a Roman goddess of hinges, I think, at one point.
Hinges.
Yeah, there's some like real weird ones.
Yeah, but it's like if you were going on like a sea voyage in Greece, depending on what time of year, where you were sailing, what type of boat, what you were carrying, what the purpose of your visit was.
Yeah.
There was like you'd like make an offering to Heracles or something. But it depended on so many different factors depending on which hero you did it to. And you didn't do it like, you never thanked a god for something. You would always, I think it's this way, you'd never thank a god for it. You'd be like,
please
don't fuck me over.
Ignore me, but here's something for you to remember me by.
It wouldn't be like, you wouldn't go, oh, thank Zeus, I'm still alive. Before you travel, you go, Zeus, don't kill me.
Well, of course, that's.
I think that's the way it is.
That plays into the difference between sort of folk religion and temple religions as well. Because obviously you won't have a temple to all of these gods, but people will build their own shrines and make their own offerings.
Oh yeah, I think there's different shrines in Greece where you could, like in the main one in like Athens, they'd dedicate a tripod, and then outside Athens, they get a clay tablet, draw a tripod on it, and give that in. And it's like, that was the same kind of, you didn't have to, it was still a very personal.
It's the thought that counts type thing.
Exactly, yeah.
Rather than what you can do. It's like, you know what, because you get like a lot of things in like museums and like votive offerings of clay animals instead of like sacrificing a bull. Like you'd give like a little bull.
Yeah, you have like the little tiny clay bulls, and then at Delphi you have a gold plated bull size.
It's almost like nowadays, if you go to any like religious site, an actual religious site,
he's walking into.
We're morons.
You'll get little knick-knack shops springing up around them, so that people can buy stuff and leave it at the shrine.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah,
that's actually very true. Yeah.
Okay,
we got.
There's nothing. So
we can't cut it. No, we don't have to cut it out.
No jihadi Jack this week.
Right. Fuck it. We're gonna do a 2-hour special. I don't even care. No. We're gonna go over an hour. We're gonna go over an hour by quite a fair bit.
Dan Lowe's, do you have a favourite myth?
Yeah, I think my favourite myth.
Take my job.
He has.
Yes.
No, I think my favourite myth is the story of Lycaon. I've probably pronounced that wrong. It's probably the one, apart from Gilgamesh, but I forgot about it, that stuck with me the most from studying Greek and Near Eastern myth.
I just headbutted my mic. I'm so sorry if you heard that.
Just now the story of Lycaon. Now, it kind of sounds like the word lycanthropy. Now, does anybody here? I want to test you guys. Does anybody here know what lycanthropy is?
Is that werewolf?
It is indeed werewolves.
Booyah!
Well done. Now,
I was doing the werewolf impression before.
Yeah, no one can see that, but
I forgot that.
for all of you, so Lycaon was a king in Arcadia, and he was quite proud, as most of these kings are. And Zeus decided to pay him a visit. He's like, this guy's pretty powerful. Let's go see him.
yeah.
And basically, I think the story goes that the best part of the animal was obviously like they were having a sacrificial bull. But the best part of the animal was like the meat, and you would sacrifice the bones, but it wouldn't be. Can't quite remember it, but there's something about that. But basically, instead of giving Zeus the best meat, he made this like really good-looking bit of food, but it was like all bones.
Oh yeah, no, I've heard.
And while Lycaon ate what looked rubbish, but was really good. So Zeus wasn't having any of this. Talking about, the gods being vindictive.
Yeah.
Zeus was like, right, tomorrow I'm going to really surprise him.
Yeah.
So what he did is he killed Lycaon's son and cut him up and put him into a dish that didn't look appetizing and served him to Lycaon.
Yes, I know this one.
And Lycaon ate. There's a lot of variations of this.
Yeah.
It's actually spoilers. It's in Game of Thrones, the most recent series, when Arya serves
Holy shit, it is.
Walder Frey, his sons.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, moving on. Sorry for those
Oh
spoilers.
my god.
He ruined someone's.
I think I
just ruined someone who's waiting to binge it.
That is me. I'm waiting to binge it, and you've ruined it. I was literally.
You know what?
I was literally on the verge of starting it. I needed to find the box set and buy it.
You've had a year and a bit to get through that.
Yeah. It's so old now,
Louis. Yeah, I know. I feel like I should do.
About how gods were malicious. I feel like we're pretty much gods now.
Because we have this podcast.
But
we are deeply flawed.
We've ruined Louis'
and
life.
obviously the millions of listeners that you guys have.
Yeah.
Billions now.
Billions.
You've cornered the Indian market very well. That was just a population joke, nothing behind it.
We're morons.
We're morons, yeah. But
so a soundbite of that.
What, we're morons.
We're morons.
Yeah, I'll get it on the touchpad next week and I'll just hit it every time.
But
so what happened to his son?
His son was
no one cares.
But Lycaon turned into a wolf because the wolves were seen as the most dangerous creatures who would.
How did he do that?
It just did. It was just the way because he ate
just
his son's. Because he ate his son's flesh and the flesh of a human, that was his punishment. That was the way cannibalism was seen.
Oh right.
Oh yeah.
So he turned into a wolf. But then the story goes that there was actually a cult to Lycaon. And basically, I think every year there would be at this cult festival, they would find a dead body or kill someone and put it into this big stew.
Yeah.
But there'd also be loads of other meat in there as well. But only only certain people would get the meat, the human meat, and certain people just get normal bull or goat or whatever.
Is it bad? I think that sounds quite nice.
What,
is that bad?
Meat or
just a mixture of meat in a pot.
And then,
in answer to your question, that is quite bad. That you
That
think human meat mixed with goat meat is an appealing option.
And then supposedly they'd go off in the forest, and then two people would turn into wolves, and there'd be these sacred wolves for the year and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Citation needed. We're morons, but But that's generally the myth, I think.
Would Assassin's Creed, the new Assassin's Creed Odyssey, know that?
Are you sponsored by it? Fun fact, do you know there's an Activision office in Haymarket?
Yes,
Is there?
I did.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Let's get involved.
What? Did you not know that? They
I
had a
did not.
massive sticker of
And you know what?
Alexios from the new one.
And I also have
In Haymarket.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my.
literally the...
Why aren't we there?
I also have a
Why aren't they
feeling
getting
that
in?
one of the things that they do is the historical research. I think, I'm not sure.
What?
Don't-
There? No, please. Oh god.
Don't
They do,
quote
we're
me.
getting them on the podcast.
Yeah, we're definitely getting them on.
So we've plugged Assassin's Creed Odyssey for the last 3 weeks. Can you talk to us about it?
Well, no, the character in it this is spoilers again for anyone playing it, but it's very early on in the game. Not that Jimmy's got there yet.
Yeah, no, I played it for a week, but I played it like an hour at a time, so I'm still on like
everything
level 11.
in moderation, kids.
Oh, everything in moderation. Yeah, I'm on like level 11. Benji's like level. What are you?
39.
39.
He's not doing it in moderation. He's just started playing Red Dead.
Yeah.
But
can I just interject?
PC
My
gamer.
horse on Red Dead Redemption 2 is called Apollo, and my other one was called Artemis.
See, I got very depressed the other day. I think I sent you and Jack this in a little group chat. Morrison's knockoff Mars bars
Yeah.
are called Apollo. I obviously get what there's two things
Hey, that's so good.
but there's two things that they've either decided to do with this.
But they're not the same.
They're not the same god.
That's wonderful.
So this is the thing. They've either decided to go for, we need something spacey. Let's go for the Apollo missions.
Oh, yeah.
Which, fair enough. But Mars is a planet, so I won't call them
What a
like
blunder.
Venus or Mercury's or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Did the Apollo program even go to Mars?
The Apollo program went
No,
to
it's
the
a
moon.
fucking
Yeah.
moon, Benji.
We've never been.
No one's been
No,
to
it
Mars
didn't.
yet.
It was a lie.
Stanley
Turn into the Joe Rogan book.
But or they've decided, we'll go for a god. But they've not. They've gone for the wrong pantheon. They've gone for Greek pantheon, not Roman pantheon.
Yeah.
And secondly,
It's the wrong
go-
fucking god.
Yeah, they should have gone for
It's not the
Ares.
equivalent.
Ares,
Ares, yeah.
And it just kind of, it was like, this is very odd choice of words. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's another.
I've got to be honest though, Apollo
version.
bar sounds more appetizing than Ares bar. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It does, yeah.
Dan, after your PhD, work for who you just said. Who was it?
Morrison's.
Morrison. Work for Morrison's. That's your job.
Just
Just
walk in
download
one day.
Changer of Mars bars.
Classics and Ancient History Research Department.
I just walk in. The one thing I do. How do I? If I've got to drag that out over years, I've got to make a career of it. I can't just do it day one because then they don't need me.
Change every bar, every chocolate bar, to a Classics and Ancient History name.
And just make it somehow work.
Going back to the point of.
I mean, what you could do, sorry to interrupt, the old Snickers bar used to be called Marathon, so you could change that to like Salamis or Thermopylae.
Oh my god.
Sorry, it just popped into my head.
We could do a whole podcast just on that. Just on changing the names of chocolate bars.
Anyway, sorry, go on.
Oh, but like one of the Spartan guys is called the Wolf. Like his.
Oh, Lycurgus.
No,
It's Wolf.
It's
Oh, on
Wolf.
Spart. Oh, sorry, we're talking about Assassin's Creed. No, but Lycurgus is Wolf Worker.
Yeah,
That's his
but
name.
like the story of the whole werewolf kind of
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah. I have got to that bit, Benji. You were chatting shit. I have got to the bit where you meet NUClass.
Your fans don't care because you don't have any.
But
He's
yeah,
outside.
that whole kind of.
They're outside right now, cheering us
Yeah.
on.
Hooray! That's
Louis actually, he's got a broom and he's kind of shoving them out.
But yeah, it's the whole kind of. It's all. The etymology was also very. Like, Herodotus for etymology.
I mean, that's also where my surname comes from. Comes from the French for wolf. Generally does.
I thought you were Scottish.
Well, no, so that's my mother's side. But we did. My parents went to London years and years ago now, and they looked. There was like a place that was doing, family crests. And I thought, it'd be interesting to go in and see, if we've got an actual family crest. Because you can search your name online on Google and it will give you some random family crest that isn't yours. It's just, randomly generated by someone and then everybody takes the same one. And they paid a little bit of money for this like little plaque, but it had our family crest on it, which was a white wolf on a red background, which personally I think is kind of cool.
That is actually quite cool.
But they looked at the
just like a start.
They looked, kind of,
Yeah.
just a little bit different. Like, Starks and Boltons decided to get married because that went well in this TV show. Spoilers again.
Louis, you've seen that live.
But we looked into it, and he looked into where it came from, and it basically came from French, which is also Lupe, or I probably pronounced that wrong. But the S on the end, because you get a lot of low about. You've probably heard of someone being called Low. But Lowe's isn't that common, but that comes from son of the wolf and stuff. But yeah, so, you get the same thing throughout history and stuff. You get people being named after various
Do you know what? I always wonder what my surname could mean.
Townsend.
By the way,
Very.
Do you know what?
Very.
Dan, son of the wolf, Lowe's.
I like
He's
that.
available.
Yeah. Do you know what? My last name is Athy, And do you know what it translates to? Lives near a farm.
That's pretty cool.
At hay. That's what it means.
yeah,
At hay.
That's pretty
How
cool.
fucking boring is that?
I mean, it could be Smith. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah. But then you're like
Jimmy Smith.
You're like
You sound like the bully at school.
Jimmy
Smith.
Jimmy Smith.
Oh no, it's Jimmy Smith coming around
Exactly,
the corner.
yeah.
I don't think mine has a meaning.
Lamond.
Yeah.
Aren't you?
That's Scottish, Lamond, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sounds a bit
Dad
like
will know all about that.
It does sound a bit like almond.
Almond. Wait, what's your you got like there's a hill or a mountain?
Loch Lomond.
I was gonna say.
Lomond. There you go. That sounds like Lamond.
Yeah, I mean, it's named after the clan.
Yeah, there we go. Anyway,
Louis.
Louis, what was your favourite myth?
I'm gonna go very basic and go Icarus because I like how it's still relevant. I love how people reference it all the time, and that like even there's like a documentary called Icarus, and so I don't know. I just really like it. But actually, when we were talking, hey,
Bastiles. No. Is it called Icarus? Yes.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Is it?
Yeah.
My Bastille knowledge is poor, so I'm gonna trust you on that one.
Yeah.
I
it is
wouldn't
Bastille.
trust me genuinely, but
There is also a song called Pompeii.
Got one called
It's
Pompeii as well.
also
By Bastille.
By Bastille.
Do you reckon one of them did ancient history by any chance?
I wonder if they did.
Actually, yeah, someone Google that.
Yeah.
It's also referenced in a Hamilton song.
Keeping it relevant.
Yes. Also the name of
it
the
is.
eagle in it.
I saw that the other day, and
See,
it is. See,
so
this
when
is
you
what
put
I'm
this on
talking about, it's still
YouTube,
relevant.
So when you put this on YouTube, Ginny, put in Hamilton because we're hitting all those
Yeah.
those key words.
Yeah,
so it'll
yeah.
pop up on.
All the tags, yeah.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
Hamilton.
we're doing well. What else can we chuck in there?
Anyway, Louis, what is Icarus? What is the Icarus myth? Because
Well,
I've also forgotten.
I must say, I've not read it in a while, so I can't tell you the exact. But the basic outline is that Icarus's father was an inventor, and he invented these wings, and then they wanted to fly
Yes.
somewhere, and I
Yes,
can't remember where.
They got imprisoned
Yeah, and
by
King Minos.
yes,
Daedalus designed the labyrinth.
yeah, and
from
then
the Theseus myth, and then they were both imprisoned.
because
and escaped.
yeah, that's it. And Icarus just got a bit too big for his boots, really. And despite the warnings, just flew too close to the sun, which is a phrase that's bandied around so much nowadays, like flying too close to the sun. And his wings melted, the wax on his wings melted, and he fell into the sea and died. Yeah, but I don't know. I the actual story is not as interesting as some of the myths that I've read, but I like its presence in modern day.
Yeah, and a lot of things call stuff Icarus, but like that, the name Icarus is used a lot now.
Yeah, I actually.
Is there an Icarus project?
Yeah, it's the documentary about Icarus was about, was it the doping with the Russian?
Oh yeah,
team?
yeah. I think I remember. Yeah, because I've been really interested in watching that.
Yeah.
But yeah, because they were. It's like the idea that they were, like, they had it perfect for ages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, citation needed. Vladimir Putin, please don't listen to this. I don't want polonium in my
Vladimir
tea.
Putin, close your ears.
But like, they had it so perfect for so long, but they were like, we can keep going. Let's make it more and more and more.
Yeah.
And then it gets to the point where it gets suspiciously.
Yeah.
You're like,
effective.
Oh,
They just pushed it too far,
Yeah.
like Icarus did.
yeah, going
Exactly.
too close
I
to
just
the
think
sun.
it's so cool and that they thought about that like we do still today. I don't know. I just think it's awesome. Although when we were talking then, and someone mentioned the Iliad, and then it got me thinking. Like, I love the epic poetry. The Odyssey is my favourite, but in the Aeneid, there's a sort of side story about, I think it's Aphrodite. I don't know if that's the correct, a correct god or goddess. But and then basically she cheats on Hephaestus, and then he catches them and then puts a cage around them, like, and gets all the gods to come in and laugh at them. I thought that was hilarious, and that actually, that popped into my head when we were talking then about. I remember reading that at A level and thinking that is actually so funny. Like, what a petty thing to do. Like, he fully caged them in, they couldn't leave, and all the gods came in and were just creasing at them. I think that's so funny.
Like a roast.
Yeah, exactly.
When you were talking about Daedalus and Icarus, it reminded me of what we talked about earlier, where you sort of read about something and then go and see it.
Yeah.
When we walked into, I think it was a Canova sculpture exhibition in Venice.
Oh
and there was a
shit!
statue of
Yeah.
Daedalus and Icarus, and I saw it and recognised the myth before reading the placard.
Yeah.
That was amazing. And then the
I did the same thing with the Orpheus.
yeah.
Because there was a statue of Orpheus, and then what I thought, what's the girl called? The Orpheus.
Eurydice.
Eurydice.
Yeah.
I thought there was smoke coming from like the underworld behind her, and it was like going up her crotch. And I said to Billy, "God, she's got a hairy butt." I didn't realise it was smoke.
That is also a very cool myth. Though.
Yeah, it is. That's my favourite.
What, the myth of the hairy bush?
Yeah, the hairy butt. Yeah, it did. I've got a picture of it on my phone. It looked like hair, didn't it?
No.
I did not agree with you. Definitely agreed
I
with
said
it.
it didn't. Amy said it didn't.
Yeah, Anna got annoyed at me. It definitely did. I'll take that to my grave.
In no way you look like that.
Okay. Orpheus. The myth of Orpheus is my favourite myth, just because of how depressing it is. Like Orpheus, Eurydice dies, goes to the underworld. Orpheus is really depressed, goes into the underworld. He's one of the only people. Actually, I'll tell the story before I say it. But like, he goes to the underworld, tries to get Hades to release her back into the overworld, and he starts like playing things on his tunes like Wonderwall and stuff like that.
Anyway, here's one.
And Hades is like, oh, fucking just take her, but then he's like, hold up, you can't look at her while you're leaving the underworld. So he's like, alright, I'll do that. So he's walking ahead, she's walking behind. He's like, you can't look back. He's like, you can't look back at her. As they're walking out the underworld, he looks back and goes, oh, you're alright. He's still there. And then she just gets darted off forever into the underworld. He's all depressed when he comes out. And then I can't remember what happens to him. I think he just gets torn apart by nymphs. And like his head drifts down a river. And yeah, that's the story of Orpheus. But it's really depressing and I quite like it. That's why. Yeah.
His fault though, really, isn't it? When you think about it.
Yeah, why did he look back? He wasn't supposed to.
If he'd have truly loved her,
yeah,
he'd have not looked back.
He'd have truly loved her. He did never laid eyes on her.
I like how compelling it is though. Because like, in a lot of sort of modern stories, when characters are that stupid, you're like, why do they do that? It's just annoying. Like horror stories.
Yeah.
When characters doing something stupid, like why?
Let's all split up.
But with like, with Greek myths,
horror carrier article.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I've got it here actually. I think is this it?
Probably.
I mean, oh no, carry on, Billy.
With Greek myths, the sort of human flaws of the characters are one of the main aspects. I really like that. Just the fact, why did he look back? Why did he do it? That's what makes the story so good.
Yeah. Does anyone want to hear about the underworld? What time are we on?
1 hour 12.
1 hour 12. Shall we just go to the news because we're going to be here all fucking day?
Let's do news.
I will save my underworld description for next week or whenever.
Next week Halloween episode.
Yeah. I'll save it for Jimmy's story time because I'm going to retell the stories in my style of storytelling.
I liked how you did that myth then. That was well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to some battles in ancient history retold by Jimmy. Or the conquest of Alexander.
And a lot of really niche myths
Nice.
that no one will ever heard of, and the only knowledge of them will be through my retelling.
So what you're saying is next year at the Greek myth lectures, someone will write an essay and their footnotes will be athlete.j.
Plebcast episode 12. Yeah. Orpheus plays Wonderwall to Hades. Yeah.
This is how the myths came about. Is people like Jimmy in old times telling how they thought it went, word of mouth.
Yeah.
Could be completely different to what was it was originally.
All these myths. all these myths that Jimmy's retelling.
Yeah.
They're just made up by him.
Well, they all start with once upon a time.
Yeah, they will do.
In a land far, far away.
Jimmy, how does gravity work? You'll be like, oh, right.
I tell you what, I've got a story
if
for
I
that.
drop this coffee cup, right, it'll go down. That's how gravity works. It won't come back up unless I pick it up. Anyway.
Keep questioning. You'll be like, eventually, oh, there's a big man at the centre of the earth and he wants everything.
He's like pulling shit down. He's making that noise, but he's straining. Too much.
Is he pulling everyone's poo down?
Yes.
It was so highbrow.
Just do the news.
We'll do the news. Benji, get your fucking news out. We're going to wrap up.
I've got my news.
Be careful with that mic, Benja.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
Everyone is now deaf.
This professional podcast being ruined by... Carry on.
Professional.
Oh, right. First thing in the news, which is not the news from this week. but it is the news from this week because this is definitely a week after the last one. But a ship was discovered in the Black Sea, first pretty much intact, well, the oldest pretty much intact ship at 2,400 years old.
Holy shit.
A trireme.
I think it was like a Greek merchant ship, so
Oh, cool.
not
So
quite a
very late classical period then.
yes,
That's interesting.
possibly. But it's like, it's not the oldest shipwreck, it's just the old, like, it's fully intact.
Yeah.
with
That's so cool.
So
everything,
could you
and
sail
it's-
it now?
Yeah.
I mean, it's at the bottom of the sea,
Sea,
Jimmy.
When is it due back on the water?
Yeah. Is it slowly floating up?
Does everybody know?
Yeah, it's been taking 2,400 years
So
to
it's-
slowly.
And now it's hit the surface, and now we're like, oh shit!
Does everybody know that the Athenian navy has a working trireme as part of its navy?
I didn't know it
Does
was
that
in
actually?
the Athenian Navy, but I know that they did like 2010, I think.
I don't know when it was commissioned, but
But
like
they did-
if you search up the Athenian navy on Wikipedia, as if you search up any navy, it gives you like, you know, it has so many aircraft carriers, so many submarines, blah blah blah. And with the Hellenic navy, it comes down and says one trireme. And you click on it, and it takes you to the page. It's a museum piece basically. It sits outside in Piraeus.
Yeah.
And doesn't get used, but it technically is a working ship with crew that the Hellenic Navy can call
Why
on.
didn't we see it in Athens?
They-
Why
I
didn't we
only
go and
found
see
out
it?
about it after Athens. Which
Oh
is-
my god. I
They
wanted
did
to
the
see
same
that.
thing with Viking ships, where they tried to recreate. I think they tried to recreate one of the Viking ships that they have,
Yeah.
and they tried to recreate it from a burial. But the burial they had, the ship wasn't used as a working ship.
It
The
was
ship
just
was used
for a
The
burial.
burial ship.
for a burial, so it
Yeah.
didn't actually work. And then they were like, they just edited the. So like the first time when they built it, it just sank. But then they're like.
I love the sound of that.
That's definitely another soundbite for next week.
Absolutely.
Hey, talk about sunken ships.
But then, like, they edited it a bit, and it worked perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And they managed to like sail this Viking longboat.
That's pretty
And that's,
cool.
I
Yeah.
think that's quite cool.
Sorry, I digressed again. That's all I've done all night.
Oh no, that's what we do. with them.
That's what, yeah. It's great.
Yeah, it's great when we do it.
Yeah.
Just
Just
not-
fucking annoying when you do
Yeah.
it.
Sorry, guys.
He's about to cry. Carry on, Ben.
Important local news here.
Ooh.
On the 27th/28th of October.
Oh, it's only like 2 days ago. Carry on.
Nice.
Yes, 2 days ago in 312 AD.
Oh.
Constantine the Great had his Milvian Bridge vision and battle, where he saw all the crosses thing, where he painted crosses on his shield, and then he won, and then he became Constantine the Great, and
Local because he
Dipshit.
was crowned in York.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think Milvian
mad.
Bridge is closed.
No, Milvian
No,
Bridge is in
it's
Italy.
like it's-
Not local history.
Why are you doing the fucking news?
I don't know anything about these. Next piece of news, if anyone doesn't have anything to say on that.
Not really.
No.
After I got
Other than it was fascinating.
Yeah, it was
And
really
I'm glad-
fast.
I'm glad you shared it.
massively
Yeah.
wrong.
And despite the tone of my voice, I was not being sarcastic, and so I've got to confirm that it actually was quite.
Let's be
interesting.
honest, it is a huge moment in world history, the
Yes.
Battle of the Milvian Bridge, because
Mm.
Constantine claims that Christianity led him to victory, and therefore it became the first, the organised religion of Rome, and from there you get Roman Catholicism, and
And the rest was history.
as they say, yeah, exactly.
Yay. Carry on, mate.
And this is more this week related news. On the 3rd of November in 39 AD, can you guess who was born?
3rd of November 39 AD.
I'm looking at a
39.
PhD student here.
39.
AD.
Is it?
Well, this is in the
is
reign
it-
of Tiberia.
Oh,
No,
no.
Nero.
No, it
no,
was,
Nero's.
Claudius.
it was Lucan was born. The poet Lucan.
Oh
Um,
my god.
I'm not a classicist though.
Neither are. Oh wait, no, are you a classicist?
No, I'm not. No.
Okay,
Oh yeah,
none
you're
of us are
Jason.
classicists,
Yeah.
so
We discovered that last
Yeah,
week.
I was trying to-
I listen.
Again.
No, because I was trying to work it out, because obviously Nero was my first thought, but Nero's emperor in 60, so it'd have to be at least 31, but he was around.
Well, Lucan was a
47.
good pal to Nero, and then he pissed some people off, and he.
Well, did
conspired.
Lucan? I have no idea. I'm pulling this out of my ass. But did Lucan write like propaganda for Nero? Was he?
I don't know. He might have done, but I thought he was good friends with with Nero, or he might have been good friends with person before Nero, and then he ended up conspiring against Nero, and then he was found out, and then he committed suicide at age 25. So
nice.
Oh, wow.
Specific facts from the ancient historians. The person before Nero.
That fella before, was it Claudius? No.
Yeah.
Was it Claudius?
Yeah, it would have been
Then he
because
might have been good pals. No, possibly.
because Claudius invaded Britain in 43 AD
Yeah.
properly
Yeah.
after Caesar's summer weekend
Yes.
retreat.
Augustus Tiberius Caligula Claudius Nero.
Sounds about right.
That does sound correct, but it might not be because it does.
Citation needed.
So,
And then
yeah.
Year of the Four Emperors.
Alba.
Galba, Otho, Vitellius,
fuck me.
Vespasian.
I
I was going to say,
mixed-
did you guys not just do Caesar's gift? Not.
Oh,
Yes.
that was like a year ago.
That was first semester of second year.
Oh,
Yeah, that was a
okay.
year ago.
If you can count my,
I don't have much room in my.
I mean, mine was 3 years ago, so there's my excuse.
Yeah.
if you can count my grade as doing it, then
Did you pass?
Yes.
There you go, you did it.
Yeah. Not very well.
Yeah.
Anyway, next bit of news.
I don't have an next bit of news, but I have 2 cool, interesting facts. this
Oh
week.
my god.
Interesting fact 1. The Hittites, who were a bunch of people that bummed around in Asia Minor.
Did like to hit people.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did hit people. Well, possibly. I don't really know. Maybe. Probably. Everyone hit everyone back then. But they brewed their beer seasonally, so they knew which seasons were the best to use different types of whatever. So they would purposely
That's
brew
pretty
different
cool.
beers for different seasons.
Yeah. I can see why you picked that fact.
Is that
out.
the first craft ale brewery?
Possibly, although that might have been the one in Judea in 13,000 BC.
Oh.
They're actually some of the first people to use both stirrups and iron weaponry in Mesopotamia.
He's
There
put
you
he's
go.
put
Right,
your
we're getting too factual and off topic.
I was more interested in the beer, to be honest.
Yeah.
So iron.
as he says,
If
with
you-
Guinness in his hand.
I don't know if you mentioned this last week, but if you follow the Classics Society on Twitter, there is a lot of retweets about ancient beer.
Oh yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
see
yeah.
that?
I do. I just like.
'Cause it's all
It's like
Belgium.
new tweet from Newcastle University Classics. I'm like, right, it's either going to be something about a social, the Plebcast, or something about beer. And they just go, that's beer. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's the best bit. But this is something, next interesting fact, which is also kind of, it's foodie related.
Yeah.
But I also saw this off Twitter, and like last week, I hope we get sued so that, for copyright so that we get more views.
Oh yeah.
But I do have like, I can say someone's name, but no, I can't remember this one. But apparently, one of Caesar's most loved sayings was, "Quicker than you can cook asparagus."
I might start using that.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's.
Quicker than you can cook asparagus.
Yeah, like, you know
Should
how
I
people
start?
say
Should I
that-
start using that? Like, if I ever get like a supervisor meeting, it's like, oh, you need to do this, this, and this before our next meeting. I'll just walk and go quicker than you can cook asparagus, and just wait for my supervisor to go. What?
He
Hell
wouldn't
you
even
on
say
about?
what, he'd be like, "Ed, you better get out.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
get out."
So I'm not being honest.
However, as I'm a student and having no ability to cook whatsoever, I have no idea how long it takes to cook asparagus. I don't know. I don't even know
Yeah,
how
does
to
anyone
cook
know
this.
how long it takes?
I mean,
to
it
cook
depends how you
asparagus?
cook it because you could saute it or boil it.
Yeah.
Prefer-
Please write in for next week.
It's slightly quicker than it takes to get stabbed to death in the forum.
44 times. The irony of that, though, is he was stabbed to death on the statue of Pompey. And also,
With asparagus.
with asparagus.
I was going to say that.
Uncooked because it was harder.
Yeah.
Now,
Could you
correct
sharpen
me
it
if
like
I'm.
a toothbrush.
Oh yeah. But yeah, he died on Pompey's statue, which is quite ironic in the grand
Yeah.
scheme of things. You know, he's just finished off Pompey in the Civil War. Well, they got very angry when Ptolemy the 13th executed Pompey, but yeah, you know.
Okay, is that true, or is that from the Julius Caesar play?
I
When he
mean,
gets stabbed?
it's reported quite a few times, but
Is it?
it's
I
one.
thought-
He does get.
I thought it was just the Caesar play.
Because
No,
I'm under the impression that's the reason he supports Cleopatra in the Civil War,
No,
or one of them.
I
Also, the
think
fact he
it's
was
Plutarch
shagging it.
that says that he gets stabbed under the.
Yeah.
Is
When
he
I say
from-
Julius
Oh.
Caesar play, I mean Shakespeare.
Julius
I
Caesar.
think it's either Plutarch or Suetonius who says that he gets stabbed under the.
Oh, I thought we were talking about
What was
the
Pompey's job again?
Pompey was one of the biggest consuls in Rome.
I was hoping someone would say he was a consul of Rome.
Hey, was that cocktail or bum? That's my. I don't know.
He was a town just near Vesuvius. That's what he was.
He was a nickname. He was a nickname for a southern city on the coast of Britain. That's gone over everybody's head.
Oh,
Portsmouth.
who Jack supports?
Yeah, Portsmouth, yeah.
And he's from actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack will be on the podcast hopefully. We'll get
That's
him
cool.
on. Yeah, no one knows who he is.
Not yet.
Jack Duggan.
Duggan.
Dugan.
Yeah.
Is it actually Dugan?
No, it is
I
actually
always ask
Dugan.
Because Dugan sounds.
You know, it's actually like people actually say it to his mum and stuff like Duggan. And she's like, no, it's Dugan. And like I think it's like because I said Duggan for ages, and then he was like,
Yeah.
my name's not Duggan. I was like, no,
Right, you know-
this is Duggan. Like this is written Duggan,
Yeah.
and he wasn't having it.
Yeah,
Because
so-
Chris-
He has told me many times it's Dugan.
Because Chris at Athens.
So it is
Chris at
Duggan.
Athens was like really pissed, and he just kept shouting, "Jack Dugan." I was just taking the piss, but that's
You
his
know,
actual name.
I can't tell if, like, you know, on Snapchat, where sometimes it has their name, and if they're in your contacts, then it has like their name in your contacts.
Oh
And
yeah.
I can't tell whether Jack's Snapchat thing is Jack Dugan with loads of O's, or I've saved him in my phone as Jack Dugan.
Just so you remember to say the right one.
I can't.
That's amazing.
Right, is that the end of the
So
news?
his name's not Duggan. His first name isn't Jack either.
This is it. He's just pulling like the biggest.
It's Jarke
Jarke
Dugan.
Yeah, that's the end of the news.
That's the end of the news. Right, that'll be the end of the podcast as well. Because how long have we been going now?
Oh, almost an hour and a half.
Almost an hour and a half. It'll probably be a bit less than that.
It's solid.
That's a bit of a
Can I-
break.
Can we quickly check how long it takes to cook asparagus?
While I do the announcements for the will we
For
have-
Classic Society.
for the Classic Society, you look up that.
Yeah.
Right. So what date is the Low Ebb Social again?
It's a
eight?
Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Oh, if this comes out on time, then it'll be
It's
tomorrow. It's tomorrow. The
Oh,
Web
how
Social.
exciting.
Yeah.
That's really, really well done.
If you're, the theme is if you're ancient history, you dress as green. If you're classics and classical studies, you dress as red. Although I don't think many people really. If you want to dress as red or green, just fuck it. And yeah, there's details on the Classic Society page. There's also the Saturnalia, 6th of December.
Buy your ticket.
Buy your ticket, please, for the love of God.
Yeah, tickets on sale on the NUSU website to the Classics page. It's £22 for non-members and £17 for members. There are
Yep.
45 members tickets and 15 non-members, so get them quickly.
There you go. Thank you, Treasurer. We also have an Edith Hall coming in. Edith Hall? What the fuck did I just say? We also have the Edith Hall coming in. I forgot the date of that again. 13th of November on the Tuesday. We haven't got a
Day.
time. We've got a date. We've not got a time. We've not got a venue yet.
Yeah.
But there is an event on Classic Society Facebook page once again. Keep checking it.
Yeah,
It will be announced soon.
She's really cool.
Yeah,
really
I heard like ages ago that you guys were chatting to try and get her on, or try and get her into Newcastle.
Yeah.
And I've just had a seminar at Liverpool with Nisha McSweeney, who does
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot on stuff about Ionians and identity, and she was fantastic. And Edith Hall, we've all done her work through
Oh,
Joe
yeah.
Skinner,
Definitely.
and stuff like that. And it's like, I'm back in Liverpool.
I'm doing my dissertation on Greek racism, and I'm going to
Oh,
talk to her
yeah.
about it
Yeah.
because she does a lot on ethnography and stuff like that.
So if you do go on the event and express interest, that will be helpful so we
Yeah.
can get a better idea of numbers.
Yes,
So you can book the right room.
book the right route.
Yes.
Okay, well, thanks for listening.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
It takes approximately 5 minutes to cook
asparagus.
asparagus, and if you've got big asparagus, it takes about 7 minutes.
Thank you, Gordon Ramsay. Right, well, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the extra long version. Thank you, Dan, for coming.
No, thank you for letting me.
First special guest. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you, Dan.
No, thank you for letting me come on, and cheers.
I might have to cut that scream
Absolute
out.
pleasure.
It's been great. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, Dan.
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to this for so long, and
Yeah,
now
I
it's
don't
finally
think we'll
happened.
come on again now, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
Yeah, do you want to get a train back next week? And
Yeah.
The week up. Can you just replace Chris?
Yeah,
I
just
have
replace Chris.
a wonderful idea. 10 minutes, 5 minutes every week, we give Dan loads of ring
Oh, can we do
my
that?
God.
Yes.
and see
Can we
what's
have
going
like?
on.
Can we have a
I mean,
downloads
I
update?
have a proper
Downloads, go
audio
with it.
setup that
Yeah.
you can literally give me a ring. I can record it and send you it.
Or we'll just do it live on air.
I mean, you could do it live on
I have done a live on air phone call before and it's a lot of fun.
I mean, we could.
Oh my god, can we have a downloads update every week?
That would be class.
That would be amazing.
How's your week, man?
More about your coins.
What coins have you looked at?
We'll have a what's happening on Downloads' life.
Nice.
No.
Downloads is daily life.
Download. Yeah.
I'm just gonna veto that idea right away.
Are you coming to the Saturday?
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
Oh.
Well, we can have a Saturnalia special.
Yeah. Oh, we will.
We will.
Oh,
A live podcast from the Armstrong.
Oh my god! that is just a recipe for disaster.
That would be so amazing if we set up in the Armstrong building. People coming in and we're just podcasting in the corner while everyone.
We're doing a commentary.
And Dr. Skin has gone for the white wine.
Rory has walked in his Union Jack.
Anyway, yeah, thanks for listening. Everyone say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Dan.
Bye-bye.
I love you, Dan. Okay. Bye-bye, guys. Bye.